Searching for this all my life. You're just my type. I've been looking for a boy who can treat me right. Your dark hair, but those eyes so bright. They look into my soul and it sparks my life. Can I take you there?
Hello, everyone. We are back getting into some shenanigans with Miss Lala Kent. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It has been a day.
You look like, this is not offensive. You look tired but relieved. Like kind of like a weight has maybe been lifted off of you.
Yeah, it hasn't completely hit me yet. I'm on my second cup of coffee. I feel utterly exhausted. I'll probably cry on this. It's been a lot. So we're sitting here. It is Wednesday, March 29th, and that was my court date. So this morning I spent it in court, driving in rush hour morning traffic in the rain down the 405 to sit in court to not even have Rachel Leviss show up.
I had a feeling just after the reunion when she served you like the bullshit papers.
Yeah.
Or I guess Andy served
That
you the
weren't
bullshit.
even filed.
Right. Like another stunt.
Yeah.
I think she thought that this was going to go differently.
Mm-hmm.
I think she thought she would, file the TRO, get a lot of sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, even though nothing happened, the internet has a mind of its own, and they completely co-signed on it. I think like you won over the internet by allegedly punching her,
Right.
even though you didn't.
Yeah.
You won the whole game, and I think she felt that she was going to level up to being the victim, and it didn't go that way.
No, it did not. And I want to get into all of that. It's like, finally, I can talk about it all. The TRO was dismissed today, and I'm finally free to talk about that night, to talk about her, say it all.
Say it all. I can't wait.
Yeah. So when I got there, TMZ, and also I didn't have to call the paparazzi. I didn't sit outside of a nail bar with some fake paparazzi,
Right.
They were just all there. There were so many. It was like I walked out and it was 15 people at least, cameras, everything. They had signs all over the entire courtroom, like no photography, no cameras, no this. Made sure everyone turned their phone all the way off, not even just on silent. It was insane. But I'm like, the first thing they asked me, they go, oh, why do you think she wanted to drop the restraining order? I'm like, first of all, she didn't drop it. She didn't dismiss it. Sure, she filed a request for dismissal the day after the reunion, by the way. So it was just another PR stunt. But with this type of restraining order, we've said it so many times, there's no legal mechanism to dismiss it. Sure, you can say, like, I changed my mind, but until the day of the hearing, it's in place. So I'm not going to take her bullshit lawyer's word that they're not going to show up. The Mickey Mouse lawyer.
Yeah.
You
he's
know?
a square.
Send it to Nima. But I can't take their word for anything. Their word doesn't mean shit. So yeah, they told my lawyer yesterday, oh, we're not going to show up. I'm like, I'm not taking that chance. And then you change your mind, and then you decide to show up, and you're trying to trick me so that I'm not there. And then I have a permanent restraining order for, I think, like 5 years, which I don't want to be around her for 5 years.
Well, I mean, you should be getting the restraining order against her and her psycho ass.
Right?
I told y'all, I'm convinced that she would be capable of, like, leather facing us.
Yeah, you did say that.
I told you.
But then I saw her lawyer today put out a statement.
You saw Mickey Mouse in the courtroom today?
No. I didn't see him in the court. I saw he put out a statement.
Oh, a statement. Okay,
online.
What did it say? Tell me.
He said that they had no plans to show up, and they're trying to spin this narrative that my appearance in court today was grandstanding. And I'm like, first of all, just because, again, you said you weren't going to show up, I don't trust that. I don't trust anything that comes out of either of your mouths. I have to protect myself. I have to protect my family. I'm going to show up because until I show up and I see the judge say it's dismissed, I don't believe anything.
Well, your attorney would have would have been doing you a tremendous disservice if he took their word for it and said, don't worry about it. Like, that's just a good lawyer saying, I don't care what they say. We will be there bright and early on the 29th.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So she didn't show up. It was 9:20 when we got into court. Court started at 8:30. It was just, I felt like the need to apologize to everyone there that we wasted their time with this. I was literally apologizing to each person, thanking each person, because I'm like, I feel so bad that you guys are having to waste time with this when there were so many people in there dealing with real shit. And that's what really pisses me off. And that just like goes to show her privilege, you know? She's white. She's pretty. She's got wealthy parents. She's this ex-beauty pageant wannabe, whatever. And I mean, I am privileged as well in the sense that I was able to afford a boss savage attorney to fight this for me. Not everyone's as lucky as I am to be able to have such representation. But for her to abuse the system like this, when I see people out there today who really need this, it's such a shame that there are people like that in this world.
It is, and I'm not in that court system, but there's many things wrong with the court system. And one of them is people like Raquel Leviss filing something like this, where, like you said, there are people who do need protection. Mm-hmm. And so many times we see that they've gone in to get protection and they end up losing their lives. Children's lives are lost. Yeah. And it's because there's so many people like Raquel out there that are just willing to file something like this, that the court thinks everything is bullshit. Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with you. It's really, really sad, and it's just a waste of the court system's time, resources, and it deeply affects people who are really needing protection.
Yeah, because these orders of protection, it's not a joke. People genuinely need these. People are genuinely in danger, afraid for their life, trying to protect their kids. And then there's people like her who are just like, oh, I just did it to get a cooling off period, to try and get out of the reunion, to try and save face, to try and paint this victim picture, when no, bitch, you're the one who decided to sleep with your best friend's boyfriend for 7+ months. You're the one who had an affair. You're the bad person here. And now you're abusing the justice system where people really need it.
Absolutely.
It's disgusting.
No, she's definitely like a repulsive human. Mm-hmm. And she's a broken person who needs like a lot of fucking help.
Yeah. No, it's infuriating. I honestly hope I never have to see her again, because I have nothing to even say to her face at this point. I've said everything I wanted to say at the reunion, which I want to get into. Yeah. I feel like there's nothing I need to even say to her face, because it's not going to go through. Nothing's going to process. She's just going to look at me with those stupid Bambi eyes that just I now see evil and darkness in. And that was what enraged me so much that night in New York, is there was not one tear in her eye. I'm sobbing. Ariana's sobbing. We are so deeply hurt and affected by this, and she's just standing there.
But she sure breaks down many times about aging out of pageants. The girl's psychotic.
Thank God, because it would be the worst representation of our state possible. Could you imagine?
No, I can't imagine. But also, who even follows that shit?
And
James,
right?
James said she never even made it into like, I think she claimed she made it into top 15, and James was like, she was 15. Like,
yeah, she made it as far as that breakdown, and then, which I, by the way, went all 3 nights.
You couldn't pay me to go to some fucking community college to watch grown-ass women sashay down like a bootleg runway.
But you know why I went all 3 nights? Because her family didn't. And I wanted her to have someone there, cheering her on. Ariana made signs. We were literally there in the front row, vlogging everything, cheering her on, so she felt confident. I left my baby at home.
You're a bad
3
friend.
nights in a row.
You're a bad friend.
I know.
A good friend would have said, this is stupid. No one's coming. This is fucking stupid.
Yeah. I was trying to think too, because I'm like, I know Scandoval came one night for sure with Ariana, but I'm like, I feel like he might have come a second night by himself. And I was like, wow, what a good friend.
Scheana, I know where your head's at, and I interviewed about this today. Like, when you're in it, you're supposed to trust the men that you're sleeping next to. You're supposed to trust your best friends. It is extremely difficult to see red flags when you're in it. You're too close.
No, I know. There were a lot of red flags that, watching back the show now, I'm like, how did I miss the signs? How did I not see that? How could I allow someone so evil and just into my home, around my family, over for holidays?
Aren't you glad you never let her babysit Summer Moon?
I recently had made a joke with her about that too. I was like, what happened when I was pregnant and your mom said what a good babysitter you were? I was like, you haven't offered to babysit once for me. And she's like, oh, I will. I'm like, I don't trust you with my kid. I actually wouldn't allow you to babysit. But I was like, what happened to that? I thought you were like all about kids and you like wanted to be around her all the time, and now you're never around.
She was too busy fucking Scandoval.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And the first sign was her not posting at his show when she went to the show up north in Roseville.
Well,
that was when I first started to think.
Like in Sonoma area or
yeah,
whatever?
It was like in November.
Babe, I remember when I told you that. That was the first time out of all of the things that I said to you, that was the first time I could see the wheels going.
Yeah.
You were like, wait, that is weird. And that is when you said to me, and by the way, a long period of time had passed between like a couple hours. I told you about that. Your mind was going that whole time to bringing it up when you and I were in the hot tub, saying, if the smallest chance that believes this is true is actually true, I will never be friends with them again. And I told you need to prepare to never be friends with them again.
Yeah. It's so crazy because from that, then I started seeing things. I noticed her location was off when I just went to check and see if she made it home safe one night because she didn't respond to my text. I'm like, hey, home safe? No response. I'm like, let me just check. Location not loading, not available, not available. And I'm like, that's weird. She must not have service.
It's weird when she shared her location for such a long time and then turns it off. And
exactly.
There was when you'll now see that there is no smoke if there's no fire.
Yeah.
Right? You can't, once the mask, I bet in New York after Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah.
When she said those words, the mask completely fell and you saw her for exactly who she is.
Yes. Hence why my hands ended up on her after she grabbed my wrist.
Don't fucking touch me. You put your hands on my wrist and try to touch me, I'm going in.
Yes. And no, I did not punch her. As we've established, I can't really form a fist with these nails.
Scientifically impossible with those nails.
Exactly.
But also, it's like a known thing. LA is like a big place, but it's actually very small. The amount of times that I would get phone calls saying Raquel was falling over when she was drunk. She's constantly, every time I talk to someone, she was falling over something, fell on a table, fell into a wall. It was she's a hot mess.
Yeah. I was saying recently too, I'm like, there's barkers in this group and then there's biters. And that night, I was a biter. I had no words because nothing was getting through to her. And when she touched me, I was so enraged. I was just like, get off me. Get out of my space. I don't want you anywhere near me. And it was just
but if I were in that headspace and someone put their hands on me, anybody would have done the same thing.
Yeah. I needed her away from me in that moment. The fact that she had not a single tear, no remorse. She sat at the reunion and did not shed one tear.
No, I know. She actually smiled. It was scary. It was like watching the Joker.
I could not believe that. And that's how she was that night. It was just like, oops, slept with him for 7 months. My bad.
By the way, though, there was no winning in that. If I were her, I would have walked in and just owned it, said, sorry I hurt you, but not sorry enough to, stop. I dig him. I'm in love with him. I didn't care about you as much as I pretended.
Clearly.
And, I asked her, I said, did you have a PR team? You need to fire them immediately and like have someone else be prepping you for these things because this is real bad.
Well, let's talk about her PR team, because when we got back from New York, there were a couple of our mutual friends who checked in with her to give me information, to let me know her state of mind. And she specifically said, I would never press charges against Scheana. I deserved what happened to me that night. She reacted reasonably. I totally understand, blah, blah, blah. So this happens Wednesday night. Thursday, she flies back on a separate flight, thank God. Nothing
Was it
Thursday.
always that way? Or did
it was
you
always that way.
Okay.
She didn't want to wake up as early as me, and I wanted to get back to my baby because you know why? Me, her, and Ariana had plans to go to a Celsius event for CLD together at 5 p.m. that day. So I wanted to take the first flight back to spend the afternoon with my baby so I could then go to this event with her and Ariana.
That's sick.
Sick. So thankfully we were on separate flights. She gets back Thursday, everything's good. Friday, everything's good. Then Friday later, she hires this crisis PR team. I think they went back and forth that weekend. They dropped her. Then
Well,
it was
I
like,
heard they dropped her because her stories weren't adding up. It
Well,
was like,
exactly.
how can I help defend you in the press if you continue to just like lie, backtrack,
yeah.
skirt around things?
Yeah. So then she hires this crisis PR team. On Friday, she literally said to one of our mutual friends, I would never press charges, nothing at all against Scheana. I'm not upset with her, blah, blah, blah. Then all of a sudden, Saturday, she also had a FaceTime with Kale Saturday morning and wasn't bruised really at all. It was just her normal how she looks without makeup. But then Saturday afternoon goes to urgent care, and it's much darker than it was on FaceTime, which he took a screenshot, and he even asked her permission. He goes, so when Scandoval was recording the FaceTime, you didn't know? It didn't like notify you that you were being recorded? And she's like, no, I didn't know. And he goes, watch, let me take a screenshot and tell me if it, and she was like, oh, okay, like take a screenshot. So he even asked her permission for that. And then when the photos come out from urgent care, it's much darker. And she didn't look like that earlier. And then like 2 days later, she's seen out with like paparazzi shots and like the scratch is gone. So all of this
and the whole like I now have a permanent scar. It's like, bitch, I got whacked in the face with a fucking 9-iron and my scar ain't that bad. Like your little thing, that's just called you need to be microbladed in that area.
Yeah.
And it's the same on the other side too. You need some microblading.
Seriously. But the fact that she went then 6 full days without even filing for a TRO, I'm like, so you weren't scared. Also, I have not contacted you once since I saw you on the street that night and pushed you off me. I've not contacted you once. I'm not harassing you. I'm not showing up at your door. I'm not calling you. I'm not texting you. I want no contact with you. So why 6 days later are you filing a TRO? You didn't feel threatened for the last 6 days, but today you do. You didn't need to go to urgent care, press charges or anything for 3 or 4 days, but now you do. It's like this whole way that she was trying to spin this, I'm the victim. Mm-hmm. I was illegally recorded. I was beat up. I was this, I was that. It was like, no, you did a bad thing. You're not a victim here.
No, but this is who she is, and she for so long has been everybody's favorite. She's been quote
she was
unquote,
one of mine.
I know, she's been quote unquote bullied, and she was really, can I tell you, if we didn't know what we now know, she would have won the whole season.
Yeah.
100%. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's why I don't think she's smart.
No.
I think she's easily manipulated, and because she's
obviously.
and because she's such a broken soul, that's prime prey for someone like Scandoval.
Yeah. I'm just seeing everything so differently now. You know, I always see the good in people, and now I was telling Brock this on our way home from court today. I'm like, it is making me question the last 13 years of friendship with Scandoval. Every time I thought he was so generous and so kind and so everything, just such an amazing friend. Now I'm like, were you just doing all of this because it was self-serving, because it fed your ego, because it made you look good? Was there kindness in your heart? Was that generosity real? It's literally making me question all of these motives. I've been mourning the loss of my friend Raquel while asking myself, who the fuck is Rachel? I don't know this person. Raquel broke a piece of my heart. Like, that girl, as you know, because you and I would go head to head about her all the time, I went to bat for her. I was a ride or die for her. I was like, you're going to really need a support system after this season because Lala and Katie aren't going to let you off easy. You're coming off this way. I know your heart. You're not that girl. I'm defending you in every interview I do. I have your back. If you want to watch the episodes with me every week, whatever you need, I am here for you. And what do I get in return? TRO.
I don't know if Rachel, and I'm wondering, so this is very confusing to me. Like, I've dealt with men like this, and I have no problem dragging them through the mud. But I'm wondering if this is just who she is, and Raquel, like the Raquel that you knew and loved, was just an illusion that she created.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense because this person, I don't know. This person, I don't know if you saw, was sitting at a bar last night or the night before with Joe.
Oh, yeah, I commented on that.
Joe posted,
turned into a troll.
I like everything about you. Everything. I'm like, really?
Well,
but
like I
said
put on the picture, trash and trash bags go so well together, and it makes it so easy to take to the dumpster.
But I can go to sleep, I think, hopefully well for the first time tonight, knowing this is dismissed and behind me, and also knowing that Joe, crazy Joe,
I have a
is
problem
her
with
only
Joe.
friend.
I have a problem with Joe because she tried to put her dirty fingernails into my baby's mouth, and
Yeah,
I about
that's
lost
disgusting.
my goddamn mind.
But think about what torture that is, that they're each other's only friend now.
You know, people say that their karma will be coming to them, and I'm like, the karma is the fact that you guys have to be around each other all the time.
Exactly.
Like, the karma's here, baby.
Yeah. So I saw on Dumois Spotted, and then I also heard our facialist, Kayla, I guess one of her friends was at this bar the other night called like Pat's or something in the Valley. And Raquel and Joe were sitting at the bar overly like laughing, like acting like they were having so much fun, while Scandoval sat at the bar crying, taking shots of whiskey. And I'm like, why are you sitting at a bar crying? Go home. And then I go, oh, wait, you blew up your home. You don't have a home. Yeah. So you're sitting at a bar.
And how is the public supposed to see that he's really upset if he doesn't show them?
Yeah, that's true.
They're insane.
The fact that we also recently found out that they went to Big Bear together on a double date with the Toms, I'm like, this is why she turned her location off. It was the weekend that we were in Vegas. You didn't go because you were sick, but for Brittany's birthday.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
I even remember texting her that weekend, and I was like, we got to do a girls' Vegas trip soon, blah, blah, blah. And it took her a while to respond to me, but I thought nothing of it. And plus, I was busy in Vegas. And now I'm thinking back, I was like, oh, my God. You were in Big Bear. This is
Right.
why you turned your location off, because if I just happened to look at it that weekend for whatever reason, which I don't sit at home and refresh and troll my friends on Find My Friends. It's literally there for safety or for checking, you know,
Right.
if you're getting to a certain place on time, whatever. I've had people on there for years. I had her on there for like 2 years. We started at Coachella a couple of Coachellas ago. But I'm like, what if I would have just checked and then been like, oh, you didn't tell me you were going to Big Bear? And so I scrolled back to our text messages from around that week, and she goes, I really want to get out soon. Yeah, like we could do Vegas, but I'm really just dying to get out in nature.
This girl's...
And she was just in Big Bear, like the day before she sent me that text message.
Well, you know, Katie was at a bar just in the Valley, and Joe, Schwartz, Sandoval, and Raquel rolled in. It was like a double date.
They apparently were doing this all the time. Obviously, Joe knew. And what makes me so sick, too, is that night I went to the Weekend concert with Kale.
Yeah.
And everyone was there.
You brought this up to me. You were like, no, I think she really likes Schwartz. She was really bummed that he was with Joe. I'm like, no, this is called she's trying to set, here's the decoy.
But Ariana was also there. It was literally Ariana, Brad, I think Logan was there. But it's Sandoval, Schwartz, Joe, and Raquel.
The fact that Joe was totally fine, like she knew that
Disgusting.
her boyfriend
Yeah.
was essentially pretending to like Raquel to throw off the scent of Raquel and Sandoval. It's a group of sick motherfuckers. I don't
really
want them
is.
around me.
No, I want nothing.
I'll troll them on Instagram, but you ain't coming to my house.
Yeah, hell no. I mean, the fact that I had to film that scene with Scandoval at my house, but I'm like, you're not getting me to drive anywhere to go meet up with you. So I was like, we're going to make this as convenient as it is for me. But then after that, I was like, oh, you've never been here. Now you just left your energy here.
Well, Sage and Palo Santo.
I think we need to do that.
Yeah, don't you worry about that.
Yeah. Well, I did feel good in Palm Springs this weekend, throwing away the last couple remnants of Sandoval that were left in my house, something that he forgot, the candle, the Tom and Tom candle that they gave me. I was just like, I want it all in the trash where it belongs.
Doesn't that feel so good?
It did feel good. It made me sad, but it did feel good.
Well, you're in a tough spot because I'm glad that the TRO is like over and done, but not only did you've had to mourn the loss of 2 friendships on top of dealing with the court system, which I know is not easy, and you having moments of, I don't feel like I can be present with my daughter. You know, she sees you cry and she starts having her meltdowns. You're going to be just fine, Sheesh. You know that, right?
Yeah. But I mean, this has definitely changed me.
It will
and
change you.
And it has been, that's been the hardest part of all of this. And I'm just like, Raquel, because I don't know Rachel. Raquel, like, there's nothing in you that just feels bad. Like, did our whole friendship mean nothing to you? Like, I haven't gotten an apology. I haven't gotten shit from you. The amount of stress this has caused me, it's beyond that. I've not gotten I'm so sorry this got so out of hand. Not that it would even mean anything at this point, but just the decency of that. Because saying nothing is still saying something.
Like I said, I don't think she can win either way. I don't think there's anything that she can do or say.
No,
and when you talked about in Palm Springs that you have not dreams, they're more like nightmares.
They are.
About Sandoval and Raquel. I think it was mostly Raquel, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like I can talk about this now because I'm somewhat out of it. I've taken time to mourn, but that happened to me at the very beginning, just constant dreams and replaying everything in my mind, and I would sob. And I think the toughest pill to swallow is you're mourning the loss of something that didn't even exist.
Yeah.
You're talking about a person who wasn't real. It's like you made her up in your mind.
Yeah. Because that person, yeah, she's not real.
Yeah.
Rachel is real. Rachel is evil. Good people don't do this to people who take care of them. Like, I gave her a home when she didn't have anywhere to go.
No, you backed that girl. You treated her like another daughter. It was crazy. I mean, even your mama was like, this is crazy. She's a grown person and she can like barely take care of herself.
I know. And when I found out she was having sex with some random guy in my bed that I would sleep in with my husband and my baby, I was just like, can you please just remember to like wash the sheets, you know, when I get home? Because I had to mother her. I had to remind her to do common decency things.
Get toilet paper.
Literally.
When my in-laws come into town, please.
There was no toilet paper in my house. There were no water bottles in my fridge. She left the Brita in the fridge so long it molded. I was just like, Raquel, have you never oh, you haven't. You've never lived on your own. You have to buy laundry detergent. Like,
can I tell you who else is pretty filthy?
Who?
Sandoval. Could you imagine their house?
Oh my God.
Disgusting. Oh,
I can't even imagine because I've seen his bedroom and like
box.
how he lives in his corners, like, ugh. But literally, I remember her telling me like I was supposed to be like happy for her the first time she had sex after James, and I was like, where exactly? And she was like, oops. And I'm like, in my bed? Like, you have your own room. Yes, I know it's a twin daybed pull-out, but like, you have your own room. She's like, well, we also did on the kitchen counter. I'm like, where I set my baby's high chair and like feed her? Like, I gave you this apartment to live in, not to have sex all over.
The level
so disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful and disgusting.
Oh.
And like, even Katie has offered me her guest room to like bring boys to, and I'm like, I would not do that to you.
Yeah.
I would not do that to you.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I told you. They're like farm animals.
I know.
But way less cute.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to take a little break, regroup, glue this eyelash back on, and we'll be right back. All right. So I have not had much of an appetite lately, but legit, you guys, these are keeping me going. My Factor meals, you open it up, and literally 2 minutes, you just poke some holes, chuck it in the microwave, 2 minutes, it's done. I don't feel like grocery shopping lately. Mama has been stressed out. Factor meals have helped make eating fun and easy. Enjoy. All right, and before we get into the reunion, one thing I just want to say, I said this today as we were exiting the courtroom and I had TMZ following me and whatnot. I'm like, okay, like while I have your attention and while you guys are all listening here on Scheananigans, I just want to point out that there are amazing organizations that help people who actually suffer from domestic violence. I'm going to link these in my podcast and in the description. There's Future Without Violence. There's LifeWire. There are so many who I think it's so important to highlight, to donate to, because there's people out there who are real victims. So I just wanted to point that back out before we get into some more shenanigans.
I love that you just did that.
Yeah, it broke my heart today seeing how many people were sitting there and like needed to be there.
Yeah.
And here I am like for something that is just nonsense.
You're like, I'm just here because we're filming a reality TV show and someone fucked up and like needs to pull a victim card, and this was the card she decided to pull.
Yeah.
It's beyond fucked up.
Yeah, definitely. So, the reunion.
I'm still recovering from it. I won't even lie. I love filming Vanderpump Rules. I like get this high off of it.
Yeah.
But there are so many times that I leave kind of just feeling bleh.
Mm-hmm.
And after that reunion, you guys all went out and I felt so dirty.
I know you got really upset after when you got home. What was the hardest part for you?
I just think being in a room with people who are like so capable of doing just the most fucked up things, like that breaks a person to their soul. You know, I was like really triggered by it. And the things that Scandoval was saying were just so disgusting.
Yeah. When I was sitting in the trailer, because obviously the TRO was still in place, so they had to orchestrate and choreograph this whole keeping me and her apart 100 yards at all times. And I was in the trailer when she was on stage. She was in the trailer when I was on stage. And I'm sitting in the trailer, and I was there with Brock and Allie. And so we're watching everything, but also then we're commenting to each other. And I'm like, wait, hold on. I got to listen. So I didn't get to hear every single thing, but every time I looked up and heard anything come out of his mouth, it was just like, are you fucking kidding me?
It was just like gross. And then when I'm around things like that, it brings out a side of me that doesn't feel that great, but I also don't know how to like shut up, which is, I think, what I guess makes me a prime reality TV personality.
You are.
But
you are good as gold for reality TV.
Thank you, sheesh. But like, it doesn't, like, I don't like going to that place.
I know.
And I felt like a caged animal.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought Ariana handled herself so well. Like, she sat back, looked insanely hot and amazing, and just fucking sliced with her words.
So good.
It was beautiful to watch.
I know. I really enjoyed watching that. It was just, there was no response. Like, there was nothing Raquel could have said back to her because she just assassinated her each time.
Oh, every time.
So good.
Neither of them could win that game.
No.
We were in the green room, and I like pulled up a picture or something, and Ariana said it was a picture of Ariana, and she was like, "Oh my God, I look so hot."
Yeah, I was right
you
there.
Were there. I
yes.
said, I've never heard you say that about yourself. And if this is just like the tiniest little bit of what your future holds without Tom Sandoval, this is amazing.
Yeah. No, she always is like, oh, my arm's this or my face this. It's always something negative about herself. And I know she's someone who has suffered with body dysmorphia. So to hear her look at a photo of herself and say, wow, I look hot. I'm like, yes.
Right?
Yes, you do.
That was like a cute and cool moment.
Yeah.
For her to say something like that about herself, because it's very rare that she feels that way.
Totally. And I feel like she's now going to see that he was someone just dragging her down, where at the time, you know, her depression's getting worse and worse, and she's going through all of these struggles with her mental health, but not realizing that the person she's sleeping next to was probably causing all of it.
Absolutely. When you're with someone like Sandoval, they like bleed your soul dry. You become a shell of a person.
Yeah.
And you don't even realize that. You're thinking that it's X, Y, and Z, but how can you go out into the world and like kill it when you're home, where you're supposed to recharge and feel happy and safe, is the most draining?
Yeah. And speaking of feeling happy and safe at home, this whole ordeal caused paparazzi to be outside of her house every day, 24/7, where now she wasn't feeling safe and happy. She knew the second she walked out of her door, people were going to be there. The second she got home, they were following her. Like the one day, they followed her all the way to Marina Del Rey. I wanted to get her out of the house. I said, why don't we take Summer to the beach for sunset? We'll just recharge. There's nothing like a baby, the beach, and a sunset that's going to, like, nothing else matters. You will be so happy. And she's like, that sounds amazing. Brad and I are going to come and do that today. I was like, all right, awesome. So they're driving over, and she was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, the paparazzi's following me. I was like, then don't come to my house. I don't want them knowing exactly where I live. I was like, let's just meet at the Whaler. I go to get in the car. Brock took the car to the gym, left me the Z. I was like, I have the baby. I need the car seat. And I'm like, okay, well, now I can't, and I don't live close enough to the beach that I could just walk. So I was like, okay, what are we going to do? Now, I can't have you come to my house. So we meet at a Mexican restaurant right by my house, and the paparazzi's just sitting there. He gets the photos of them walking in, and then when they leave, her and Brad left first, I was like, perfect, he's going to follow you. Oh, no, he didn't, because he already got the photos of them. He wanted photos of me. So now I'm there with no car. I have my baby, and I know they're probably going to follow me home to my safe place. Right. So I asked a worker at the restaurant if there was like a back kitchen door that I could exit out of. It was honestly a really scary night. I have Summer in my arms, and I like run out the back door, and I'm like, okay, I mean, I know this area. I've lived here for 5 years. So I'm like, I think if I just go behind this store, I'm going to end up over here. Like, he's not going to see me. And so I'm walking with her, and it's dark now. So I'm kind of going down like a dark, like back alley, but I know it's going to end up on a main road. And as I'm doing it, Summer was just like, home, home, home. I was like, I know, baby, we're going home, but I have to. And she's like, why are we going this dark, like scary way?
Right.
But I was just like, anything I needed to do to protect her. I didn't want them following me to my home. And I like finally get out, and I'm like going as fast as I can with her, because I was like, what if they, start driving through the parking lot or something? Like, it was really scary for me. And to have to experience that, and then also find out that when Rachel filed this fake police report and all of this shit, she puts my home address on it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? You now have taken my safe place that I have invited you into away from me. This whole situation has now made me feel very unsafe. And that is not okay, because I didn't do anything to deserve this. Ariana didn't do anything to deserve this. It was just like that whole night. And then I found out that like later that night that the paparazzi had their lens like through the restaurant, and we were seated in a back corner, and they were taking photos of me and Summer and Ariana in the restaurant.
They were in the restaurant?
No, they were
them?
outside.
Oh, taking
but
it
it
through
was
like the
glass,
window?
yeah, through the windows. So I wasn't about to just, walk out the front door and have them follow me home. It was just such a scary night. And then Summer, she's in that like parrot phase right now where she just says the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, no, I know all about that.
Home. I go, we're going home, honey. We're going, no, home. And I was like, we are. And then she wants to walk. I was like, no, mommy's got you. I was like, let's run. I got this. And I was like, that was really fucking scary.
I can't even, I can imagine, because when, like, the very first drop-offs that I would do at Homeboy's house, never been photographed there ever in my however many years of going there, living there, and then all of a sudden they're parked right there. So obviously he called them. Mm-hmm. But I remember them following me from there to where I was now living, and it was scary. It's like, I got a baby in the back of the car. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to ditch you. And it's like, why can't you follow me on a day where, like, something really great happened to me? Because they all, like, pose, look cute. Like, why you gotta follow me when my life has gone to shit?
Yeah. And also, I don't want to talk to you right now.
No.
I have my baby. I'm trying to just get her home. I don't want to stand here and have a conversation with you about something I can't even talk about.
Right.
And that was also the night that she filed the restraining order.
Oh, so they were all about getting you as well.
All about it. So I'm like, I just need to get out safely and not have them follow me home, not knowing that she also gave my address out.
It is clear that the paparazzi loves you and Ariana, because y'all hit different in those photos. They hate Raquel.
I'm like, she called them on herself while she sat outside of Blush Nail Bar, but then looked the way she did.
Because that's a part of the PR strategy. We
look
need
like
you
a victim.
We need you looking like you can't be hitting like a pageant queen. You need to look like it was random. Like, I would never look like this if I called the paparazzi on myself. It
was so obvious too. Like, I saw one that Scandoval had the other night.
Oh, trying to shove his karaoke machine into the front of his car.
I'm like, what is this, Tetris? It's not that hard. Just get the fucking bag in. And for how long it took him.
It was strangely hard for him.
It was very difficult. But it was also, I think, the same guy's voice from Blush Nail Bar.
Oh,
I'm like,
no.
So that was a coincidence? They just found you there?
No, I think he's been, like, placed on VPR news.
Yeah.
Because he showed up to Electric Owl when I was filming with Katie and Allie. Mm-hmm. They said that was the same guy. Katie was like, it's the same voice. It's him.
Yeah.
But how do you call the paparazzi on yourself?
I mean, if you have a publicist, you can definitely let them know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have like a direct number to a paparazzi, but I know on a night if I'm going to Craig's or whatever, and I know I'm going to be looking good, they're going to already have paparazzi there. I've definitely given a heads up a few times because I'm like, well,
every time I look cute, I'm going to make sure that
my
PR team calls them.
Yeah.
Because they catch me a lot coming out of my office, and I've been in pajamas. I'm like, where the fuck are they hiding?
Yeah. No, the majority of times, I know people, this was like a joke back in the day. I remember Stassi said this. I think at the first BravoCon was like, oh, Scheana always calls the paparazzi on herself. I'm like, in Hawaii, absolutely I did. Those photos were bomb.
They were bomb. Your body was real good.
Thanks.
Your body is real good, but I know what photos you're talking about.
Outside of that, I don't just call them on a regular day. I said, if I'm going to Craig's or Catcher's somewhere where I know they're already going to be, I'll probably give them a heads up to expect me because I also want to make sure that the photos are good. And when you're nice to them and they know to expect you, the photos are usually good.
Well, by the way, how do you think Kardashians are so famous?
Exactly.
Like, they were shoved down our throats because they constantly were calling the paparazzi on themselves.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know that I'd be calling them after I fucked my best friend's man.
Yeah, probably not.
That's when I'd be running away.
Yeah. What do you think the future holds for Rachel? You think she would come back season 11 if they offered her a contract? I don't know that they will. But what do you think she would do?
I think she would come back. I think she would definitely come back.
Because I know from what Scandoval told me when we filmed together that her family doesn't want her doing any of this anymore.
Well, she's 28 years old and has I know this is a shock to her, but she has a brain that she can actually use.
Well, she didn't the day she filed the restraining order because her sister made her do it.
No, but
that's what she told Scandoval.
Yeah, and she blames the whole restraining order on her family. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, you got to sign off on it.
Exactly. That was her writing.
Correct. So
she
if you don't
wrote
want to
those
do
words.
it, you say, I know you want me to do it. I'm not signing this.
And I mean, there has to be something that can come out of filing a fake police report, like some consequence, or is there anything, or it just
Let me
goes
tell you
away?
something, Scheana. There's hardly ever a consequence
That's true.
in the justice system.
Yeah.
That's why we're out here protesting all the time. That's why we're telling these people to wake the fuck up. Come on,
Yeah.
get with the
no,
program.
that's a good point.
And because it takes so long to do anything, by the time you get in there, so much other shit has happened
Right.
that you forget about the reason why you're even in there.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's intense, but I definitely think she would come back. I think Scandoval would definitely come back.
Oh, he will for sure.
The hard thing is Ariana has drawn a line in the sand.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like we've come full circle. I was telling everybody, you can't be friends with homeboy anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Schwartz went and did it. I cut him off. A lot of people didn't understand it. Now Ariana's in that situation saying, if you choose to hang out with Scandoval, which we know he will, you can't be around me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really saying you can and can't do this. Just know if you choose wrong, you're not around me.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Yeah. And and you have every right to feel that way and to expect that from your friends. That's not too much to ask.
We all do.
Yeah.
And there will come a point in time for everybody where something happens and you look at the group around you and say, it's A or B.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ain't picking the letter I want you to, get away from me.
Yeah. Totally.
Very simple, but people think it's super complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Raquel, clearly I've told you, it felt so good, by the way, at the reunion for me to be able to tell her you're a fucking idiot, and not one person told me to be nice.
I know.
That was the first time.
You're like, you need to be mentally evaluated.
I am being mentally evaluated. Oh my God.
I'm wondering, I saw Andy had tweeted weeks ago and was like, how many parts are too many parts for the Vanderpump reunion? I am wondering. I'm like, it has to be at least 3.
And as much as, because you got the phone call, I'm sure, from production that was just like it was basically a poll. How would you like to see this go down? Do we bring Scandoval in at the very end?
Yep.
Do we talk about the storylines that existed, or try to at least before this happened? And of course I said, I think that we all deserve to talk about our storylines. It's an ensemble cast. Like, Scheana had a beautiful wedding to the love of her life. Like, she deserves to talk about that. Katie was affected. She deserves to talk about that. But then we get in there and it was impossible because
brushed over.
It was because it all was basically, this is what it has been the whole time. Like, even myself saying that that's how I would like to see the reunion, I couldn't even do that.
No. Because this was just so much bigger than everything that happened 8-9 months ago.
Yeah, it was the most intense reunion I've ever been a part of. And you've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm sure, was it the most intense for you?
Yeah, but it also felt like one of the quicker ones, which was weird to me. It was like we broke for lunch early, we wrapped early, and I feel like Andy was just like, I'm done. I'm over it.
I think I read that we were only on stage for 5 hours.
Yeah.
It felt...
Which is crazy.
It flew by.
Yeah. No, it really did. I got a lot of questions that came in about it. K_lasagna. She sent in a lot of questions. How does one prepare for a reunion in terms of talking points? I personally don't. I felt like going into it, I'm just like, whatever I get asked, I'll address it at the time. I feel like in the past, I've tried to make notes of things that I definitely want to hit, and that never happens. I don't prepare at all.
Well, by the way, I think Raquel prepares. And
she was in performance mode. You could
look
tell.
at what it does for her, though.
Yeah.
We talk about this, you and I think it was in last week's episode, where I'm like, she tries to plan the way the conversation is going to go, and when it doesn't go that way, she doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
So as far as prepping in that aspect, I don't prep at all. I wait for the question and then I just say what I want to say. But as far as my mental goes, like, if I know reunions coming up this year, I told Jess, reunions Thursday, I want a light week. I need to, like, get my mind right. I want to get my skin right. That didn't work out, though. I had 2 zits that day.
I have 3 that I'm getting over right now, and I never break out. I had my first gray hair, as you pointed out and
it's a
saw,
wisdom hair, baby.
which a lot of people said, no, don't pluck it. They said cut it at the root.
Why would I cut it at the
for
root
each
when
one
I
you
could...
pluck like 3 more grow.
Yeah, but I read online that was a wives' tale.
Oh, okay.
And by the way, why would I cut it at the root when I could pluck it out by the root?
I know, right?
Doesn't make no sense.
Yeah, because I'm like, is it going to start growing back black?
No, it's
gray. It's
yeah,
there.
and you're gonna get grays.
Yeah, but this caused it. This is my first one. I've never had one before.
Bitch, I had never had any either until, last year, and now I'm full, and I don't pluck them because they're kind of wiry, so add some thickness and a blonde, so it's all good.
Well, I'm lightening my hair soon, so maybe they'll just
they'll blend right in.
Yeah. Oof. All right. She also asked, what do y'all do in between breaks at the reunion? How does one go about getting a look for the reunion? So I just want to shout out CLD because they have styled so many of us. Did you go there for the reunion?
No.
This time? Okay.
No, I used a new stylist who's friends with the Carlos Cantu, who does all of... I think you met Carlos,
okay.
and you met the stylist at the pop-up. He does all of my logo art.
Nice.
And she's amazing. I'm going to tag her. I loved working with her. I did not expect them to pick the dress that they did. Mm-hmm. I wanted this very hot red one, but Ariana wore red, and she fucking killed it.
That was a revenge dress if I've ever seen one.
Oh my God, and that ass. Everyone knows how I feel about the way Ariana looks.
I know.
Like, she just be hitting right.
Yeah, totally. But I got mine from CLD. I got Allie hooked up with CLD. They have so many amazing brands, and that's just kind of my go-to.
Can I say this? Mm-hmm. I could not stop staring at you at the reunion. You looked so incredibly stunning.
Thank you.
You're always beautiful, but there was something about that look, the lighter pieces in the hair, the way the makeup was with like the gold dress. I mean, you were a fucking knockout.
Thanks.
Beyond.
I was hoping Andy would tell me I looked good as gold, but I guess that didn't make it in the script.
Bigger things to talk about.
I know, right? Okay, let's give you a couple more questions and then we'll wrap it on up. Are we allowed to say who almost got in a fight? Because I saw Jax put out some misinformation.
Who did he say?
He said it was Tom and Tom.
Why does he do that?
We're just going to say that that's not who it was, but we're not going to say who.
That's not who it was, but why does he do that? I heard he also posted the text message that he sent to you, me, and Ariana.
He did.
Oh, my. By the way, when I want things to be like out there like that, you just drop it to Jax Taylor.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And you'll probably be hearing about it on their new podcast. They have the new podcast, When Reality Hits. I'm going to get them in on Scheananigans soon so we can talk about that. I honestly, I got hundreds, probably thousands of questions.
Oh, I'm sure.
That I don't even know where to go next. Has Raquel apologized to you? Nope. Did Schwartz get busted for the double date in January? Yup. Did Raquel get the RO so she wouldn't have to face you in person? Probably.
The PR move should have been, we're having you zoom in from like a mental facility.
I mean, even if she zoomed in, I couldn't have been in the room.
No, but just to be like, I am
getting work done on myself.
Yeah.
Getting the help I need.
Because again, I just think she's like a broken person. Mm-hmm.
I know. And I always felt that there was something broken in her from just literally the time she was born and how that all happened, with the adoption with her family. And I've always had such a soft spot for her and just felt the need to take care of her because I felt so bad for not how she was raised, but how she knew about where she came from and how that affected her. Like, I always felt just so much sympathy for her.
But I think that that's amazing and by the way, I am sympathetic to that as well. But there are many people who are dealt cards that are things that we can't even relate. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how you play that hand.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have had a lot of shit happen to them. Mm-hmm. And they're doing great things and they've overcome it. Like, there's no excuse.
Yeah. It makes me think, like, is Raquel like a broken person or an empty vessel?
Ooh. I gotta think about it.
So so many more questions. I wish I could honestly get to all of them. I think I might even do a solo podcast soon. Comment below if you guys are watching on YouTube. Let me know if you want to have me do a solo. I've never done it before other than the miscarriage one, but then I even still wrapped that up with like a Q&A because I felt weird just talking by myself. But I feel like there were so many questions that came in. Maybe I just sit down at home with my equipment in a dark room and just like, just answer them all and just like kind of zone out. And
that sounds very therapeutic, actually.
I think it kind of does. So I'm going to save the rest of these questions, and I think we're going to do a solo episode soon. It might even be a bonus episode. I might just put that out on Patreon.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, but I definitely want to get to a lot of these questions. But we both got to get back to our babies, and it is Wednesday night, which means Vanderpump Rules is on tonight. And this is one of my favorite episodes because our scene is in it with Brock at Rocco's.
Oh,
I'm so thankful. That's why I especially wanted to watch this episode with you. I'm so thankful that this scene made it in the show because obviously you didn't see much of Brock this season, and that was such an important part of our story. The three of us are so close. You just bought the house next door to me. Ocean is like a second daughter to us. She calls my dad Opa, my mom Nana. We're family at this point. And to come this far and not see a little sliver of how we got there would have just been weird. It would have been typical Vanderpump Rules.
Well, by the way, Sheesh, I was like, I have not interviewed about that.
I hadn't either.
And Bravo requested that it go in.
Yeah.
So,
and another shout
excited.
out to Jeremiah Smith, our amazing showrunner, who made sure that got in. It's edited perfectly. And I can't wait to go watch it. So we're going to go do that. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, I'm going to link those organizations here on the YouTube video in the podcast description. Please consider donating because there are so many people out there who could really use your help. And thank you for listening. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, babe.
All right. Bye.
I've been searching for this all my life because